Brokers versus carriers, the surprising truth behind the lower payouts. What that means is that when you see loads posted for 7,800, and I have a question. If you are a carrier, if you are a freight dispatcher, will you take this load? Well, think about, you are a freight dispatcher and you're dispatching loads for a carrier, and you saw this load popped up by a broker, posted by a broker, and it popped up on your feed. Will you take this load? Well, if you ask me same question, this is what I have. Well, I would say yes and no. Well, why is that? Well, everything depends on my carrier's cost per mile. And let's be honest, I'm guilty. When I was a carrier, I was in the flatbed market. I owned 4 company trucks. When it comes to cost per mile, we carriers are guilty that we don't know our numbers, and that's the challenge. Well, I want to reveal something that maybe you never thought about this, but there is a psychology behind these lower payments or the lower rates coming from the broker, and there is a reason. What you might be asking, if you're a carrier, if you're a freight dispatcher, you're looking at the load board and you say, well, 7,800, okay, you negotiate it and broker gives you another, let's say $200. Now you have $8,000. Think about it. It goes from Savannah to Seattle, Washington. It's about 3,600 miles from one corner of the United States to another corner. Think about it. 3,700 miles. And broker pays $8,000, let's say. Right? You negotiated, you have another $200. Well, broker knows that somebody will pick this load up and then deliver no problem, and I will show you why. So here is a cost per mile calculator. Okay, let's make it like this, and this is random cost per mile calculator that I found online. You can type cost per mile calculator. There are a lot of websites that offer these amazing tools that you can just take your numbers, fixed costs and variable costs, and you can come up with your cost per mile. So let's take these numbers and let's talk about these. So in order to come up with the cost per mile, and actually it needs to go very in detail, like pulling every number that you have in your trucking company so that you can have this precise cost per mile, the number. Very important. And I will tell you why. And most of you maybe know, but some people out there, they don't know. So the monthly miles driven, that means this carrier, let's call it carrier A, drove, let's say, 10,000 miles. And give it a take, some people might do 12,000, 14,000, 9,000, 8,000, but this is an average number that a carrier can drive or owner-operator can drive per month, 10,000 miles. So then trucks MPG, mile per gallon, this is the number that, let's say if you have a truck, this is the consumption, the efficiency of your truck, basically, right? The MPG is 7. Then the $4.50, this is a price per gallon of a diesel, but it's an average, okay? Then drivers pay per mile is 0. Why 0? Because this carrier is an owner-operator. He owns a truck and a trailer, and he doesn't pay because he drives himself, right? Now, monthly insurance premium for his truck is about $1,700. That's for his insurance. And all of these numbers, you can take a look. And then here is the deal. He doesn't have a truck payment, right? It could be thousands of dollars, could be $4,000, $5,000, could be, I don't know, $2,500. And think about, he doesn't have a trailer payment, okay? Now, his monthly repairs and maintenance, give it or take, is $2,000, $3,000. And then all these numbers, these are like annual overhead items that I listed. Well, let's say put the numbers on. And let's take a look. Now we have 1.11. $1.11. This is how much is costing for this particular carrier, carrier A. For every mile he drives, he spends $1.11. So then think about, will he take this load? Broker pays $2.17. Well, if you take $2.17 minus $1.11, what's left is for the carrier, and multiply that number for 10,000, and that's what you have. He's making money. He's okay with it. He's making almost $1 per mile. If it's a 10,000 miles he drove, multiply by 1, and you get $10,000 per month, which is great for an owner-operator. If he's making half of that, and he covered all the expenses, and he's making $5,000 per month, he's okay. Right? Think about it. Now, let's switch the gears a little bit. Let me take this carrier, okay? Let's call him carrier B. Then monthly driven miles, 10,000 still. The MPG, still same, $7. And then this is an average price per gallon, okay? Plus or minus. Now, this carrier pays for his driver, give it or take, again, plus minus, is 60 cents per mile, okay? Now, these are the monthly overhead items, and again, the insurance. But then I want you to pay attention that he has a truck payment of $2,500. And then he has a trailer payment. And again, I'm just throwing numbers out there to illustrate the point, okay? Then let's say $1,500 for his trailer, and then repairs, $3,000, unexpected, let's say, right? And then it's $3,000. That's per month. And these are the annual overhead items, and this is how much it's costing. Now, think about, now we have $2.18. For then carrier B, this load, it's not an option. Why? Well, because if you take $2.17 per mile and take this $2.18, which is cost per mile, this is how much it's costing for this carrier, carrier B, for every mile he drives. That means he's losing a cent for every mile he drives. That means he's not making any money. So then, okay, well, you talked about broker versus carrier. There's a hidden or surprising truth behind the lower payment. Well, this is it. Brokers pay for the owner-operator. They know in mind that now their customers are owner-operators. Why? Because this owner-operator owns his truck and trailer, and most of owner-operators, they paid off their maybe truck, maybe trailer. Okay? And they don't have the driver pay. And they, because of that, because of those reasons, he has lower cost per mile. And they know, the brokers know that, well, they will pick this load up and deliver. And I'll pay you an extra $200 and we have a deal. That's what's happening with the brokers right now. Yes, the economy, the inflation, the inflation and everything in between. Yes, I got it. But that's the psychology behind right now with the brokers. That's what's happening. They're targeting who? The ideal customers for them right now, carriers, owner-operators. Meaning carriers, why I say carriers, because owner-operators, they are carriers. But then we have in mind this, the lingo can confuse newcomers. The carriers could be a person, let's say, owns multiple trucks, and he owns, let's say, a company where he has, let's say, 4 or 5 trucks, and then he has company drivers and they drive for him, right? So I was a carrier and I had 4 company drivers or 4 trucks. Obviously, the expenses compared to owner-operator, even in just one single truck for a carrier, because I was dispatching and I wasn't driving, and obviously driver was driving my truck, and because of that I had expenses, and none of my trucks were paid off. And then 6 months into business, one of my trucks, the first that I bought, I paid off because it was a used truck. And that truck has the lowest cost per mile. And guess what? The most money made by that truck because I had lower cost per mile. So that's the game right now that their brokers paying. And this is one of the reasons. And they're not targeting these carriers. I'm talking about small brokers. I'm not talking about these mega brokers. They fine. But then these small brokerage companies, this is what they're doing right now. That's the psychology behind this 7,800. Because this owner-operator that in mind, he was posting this load, he had this in mind that owner-operator will take this load. Well, a carrier with multiple trucks, maybe not. And they're fine. As long as the load delivered, picked up safely and delivered safely, that's it. It's complete. Now, that's the game right now, guys. And when people posting, let's say brokers posting these types of loads, and you need to understand that you need to work on, if you're a carrier, you have higher cost per mile, then you need to think about how you can optimize your business and lower that cost per mile so that if you have a dispatcher working for you and he can help you, get good loads. So I want to share something very important with you guys. So if you want to talk about, or if you want to learn about this, optimizing the load, talking to your brokers, anything in between. So I have an invitation. So below this video, there will be a link. Check it out. Come join us and learn more about the business. Thank you.